Okay, so there's basically no way that we can avoid these spicy rumors and theories, so let's just jump right into it. Okay, so if you haven't really been following this news at all as of late, there has been some rumors, speculation, theory based off of what Jason Blum has been posting on his social media accounts over the last couple days and what it might mean for the Purge franchise, specifically the fifth film in the movie franchise that has been reportedly going to be the end of everything related to the Purge, at least in terms of the cinematic offerings. If you don't know anything about this, you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail, let's just jump into it. Jason Blum recently posted the fact that him and James DeMonaco, the creator of the Purge franchise, were on their way and had an exclusive meeting with none other than Rambo, Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, the legend himself. And the idea is, at least for a lot of people, this has kind of been going around over the last couple days. I know I'm late to it, but at least a lot of people thinking that, does this mean that we're going to be getting some major role from Sylvester Stallone in the fifth Purge movie? And what does this mean for the overall story of the Purge, at least when it comes to the cinematic franchise? Of course, the second season of the Purge television show is going to be premiering later on this year, so obviously there's just a lot to digest here. First and foremost, I want to say that I'm not entirely sure what this is going to mean or what his role is going to be. Let's not forget that the first Purge, the fourth movie in this long-running yet budding franchise, had none other than Oscar winner Marissa Tomei. And if you don't know who Marissa Tomei is, obviously if you haven't seen that movie, you all know who Aunt Bay is. Of course, that's just the, little nickname they gave to Aunt May's character from the MCU Spider-Man films. But they didn't do as much as I wanted with her character with that film. She was pretty prominent, at least in the first half, and then they got rid of her, and it was just something to help sell the movie, but it really wasn't what I was anticipating, and I'm sure if you're a major fan of Marissa Tomei, it's not what you were anticipating either. I'm really hoping that if these rumors, these speculations end up happening, then we get a much bigger role from Sylvester Stallone within this movie, and his character helps bring about, at least what James DeMonaco has said, the ending of the Purge, at least in terms of the cinematic franchise, as long as it's based in the United States, because there's also some theories, speculation, and even rumblings that they want to do an international Purge. And if you saw the first season of the Purge television show on USA last year, you know just as well as I do that there was some rumblings on that television show that seemed to indicate that we are going to get an international Purge film at least sometime in the near future. The question here is, what is Stallone's role going to be in this movie, and how is it going to lead to the ending of the Purge franchise? And I really think, if you're asking me, I really think that the idea of Sylvester Stallone, his star power, his story in Hollywood, and the myth, the legend of what made Sylvester Stallone the star-studded action tycoon icon that he was throughout the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, and now the 2010s, with the reintroduction, or at least the premiere and then countless sequels to things like Rocky, Rambo, The Expendables, the Escape Plan franchise, and everything else that he's touched over the course of the last 4 decades. I think he is the perfect person to have star in the last Purge film, and I know exactly, at least as a fan, what I would love to see from this movie and how I feel like it would help find a conclusion for the Purge franchise. I think having, or at least expressing the fact that because the Purge, in the timeline of the movies, when it started versus when we saw it end, or at least the furthest point that we've gotten into this franchise history, was a 40-year gap from where we began in the 4th film of the franchise with the first Purge, all the way to where we ended at the very end of the 3rd film in the franchise, Purge, election year. You have this character that Sylvester Stallone would represent in this movie as a young man growing up between this 40-year gap from the fourth to third movie, understanding the value of the purge when it comes to the economy, taking advantage of the politically motivated themes that have run through this franchise ever since the very first film, and making his way from a young poor white man at the very beginning all the way to a rich aristocrat type of character who supports the purge and everything that came about from the change of the law. But we explore his character and understanding that his views have changed on the matter. When he was younger, he was much more of a protester. He didn't like the idea, but it only served to benefit him as he became richer and more powerful with each passing year, with each purge that came about it, to the point where he was supporting pretty substantially the founding fathers. And at that point, as we reach his character in modern day, at least after the election year movie, you see with all of the riots and everything happening, he is being put in a place where he has to defend not only himself, but also maybe a band of other people who are now being targeted by the people who feel like the purge being taken away from them is now somehow akin to their own individual God-given right has now been taken away. I feel like by picking up the storyline exactly where election year left off, you can allow this story to be just as hard-hitting as everything from election year to the first purge, with what the story is that they're trying to tell, making the end of the purge somehow resembling the idea that we take away the Second Amendment in the United States and people rallying up and trying to make sure that their voices are known and trying to take down the government that's now in power. This person that Sylvester Stallone could possibly be playing in this movie, being as rich and as powerful as he might be, having grown up within this world, can come out of the shadows and realize what has happened to him, his morality, and what he believes he deserves, from the moment where the purge started all the way to where he was when it finally ended after election year. And you see this transition from this character who understood what was being fought for at the beginning, lost his way, and then eventually came back around and started helping the people who were being persecuted. That, to me, would be an interesting story and a great way to leave the franchise, at least on the cinematic front, because at that point, you've gone through the beginning of the purge, how people are affected by it, whether they're supporting it and doing it or not, and then you're also going through what the government has been doing this entire time to make it successful, and then you're dealing with the success that people find from it, and then the fact that they are going to start changing their minds, even the most successful and outspoken people, for the new founding fathers. And for me, from what we've seen from Sylvester Stallone's entire career, his entire ups and downs, and the fact that he came from nothing, the legend of him when it comes to the Rocky franchise and everything related to Rambo and just everything he's done, he is the perfect person to play this role. And I feel like it would be the perfect story for the fifth and final film in the Purge franchise. So, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Would you really like to see this? I know a lot of people have been talking about this over the last couple of days, but I just was thinking about what the story would be like if they had him in the film, and I love this idea. I would totally be down for it, but I want to hear your thoughts and opinions about this as well. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. It's been real.